Hey, good morning and welcome everyone to the August 13th, 2025 board meeting. I just want to thank everybody for joining. If you noticed, there were Zoom instructions that staff sent out with your packet to ensure that virtual meetings are as productive as in-person meetings. If you didn't take a look at those before, please feel free to go through it. At a minimum, and it looks from what I can see, everybody's done it. We need all the members to make sure their name is on screen so that we can understand who we have on the call throughout the board meeting. I'll now ask Lori to do our roll call for attendance.
Director Baker. Director Claymire.
Here.
Director Terry Johnson. Director Rob Blaisdell. Director Gregoire.
Here.
Director Kidd.
Here.
Director Lee.
This is Jonathan Lee. I'm here.
Director White.
Here.
Director Radcliffe.
Here.
Director Roizen. Director Dodge.
Here.
Director Driehaus.
Here.
Director Hojado.
Here.
Director Tyler Lee.
Here.
Director Mattia. Director Piccirilli.
Here.
Director Greta Johnson. Director Silac. Director Bruce.
Here.
Director Amen.
Here.
Director Whiston. Director Andrew.
Here.
Director Ayers.
Here.
Director Mason.
Here.
Director Mayer.
Here.
Director Powell. Director St. John.
Here.
Director Wurzbicki.
Here.
I have 18 here.
Mattia here.
Greta
Okay.
Johnson here also. I think I may have missed my name.
Thanks, Greta. Thanks, Judge.
Thank you. We have a quorum then. Thank you very much. I'd like to also welcome our guests. I want to thank you for joining us also. Although we cannot hear the comments of the guests and the feedback, please use the email of the foundation, info@oneohiofoundation.com, and we'll try to monitor that. Before we get started, though, I want to take a moment to recognize International Overdose Awareness Day is being held August 31st of every year. It's the largest campaign to end overdose. Remember, without stigma, those who have died, and acknowledge the grief of family and friends who are left behind. This year's theme is One Big Family Driven by Hope, highlighting how overdose impacts not just individuals, but entire communities, and emphasizes the collective power we have to heal, prevent further loss, and support one another. Also, September marks the beginning of National Recovery Month. It's an important time for us to reflect on our mission. That said, we look forward to seeing all of you at our September in-person meeting where we'll celebrate Recovery Month. We'll hear from grantees and walk through the next grant round in detail. So next week, next meeting will be a full meeting. So we have our agenda for approval. The first order of business is to approve the agenda, but I want a slight revision. It is not Clark County that we have listed below under item 4. It is actually Greene County Public Health. And unless there's opposition to that edit, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda as edited.
So moved, Mayor.
by Mayor. Mayor makes a motion.
Second, Treehouse.
I think I have Mattia making a second. He lit up. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So the agenda is adopted. In your packet, we have the draft meeting minutes from the June board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June meeting?
Worsbicky, so moved.
I'm not on as in attendance, but I'm on as having voted, and I was there. I'm not sure if you wanted to amend and put me in or if that matters.
Pardon me.
We'll make that amendment.
Okay,
This is
thank
Ayers.
you.
Sorry.
We'll make that amendment that Director Ayers just brought up. So is there a motion to accept the minutes with the edit, I'll call it?
Move, Kid.
I
Second,
see
White.
Larry's lit up.
Second, White.
Second was White. Again, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? And the motion carries. Now, I'd like to turn to Sarah to introduce this month's Mission Moment presentation.
Good morning, everyone. We start every meeting with a mission moment to ground ourselves in why we are here. So our mission is to save lives, prevent substance misuse, promote recovery, and build resilient communities. The mission moment connects us to the people and the programs making that mission a reality. Today, I'm honored to introduce one of our incredible grantees whose work is fulfilling our mission of saving lives. We are joined today by Camille Edwards and Casey Warren from the Greene County Public Health Department. So Casey, please take it away.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Casey Warren. I am a health educator with Greene County Public Health. Next slide, please. So our project title was Expanding Harm Reduction Services in Greene and Clinton counties. And so our award amount was $329,000, and this project spans 36 months. Next slide, please. So our biggest project was the mobile health unit. And so with these grant dollars, we were able to purchase this lovely mobile health unit that we take out to underserved areas in Clinton County, and as well as harm reduction services expansion in Greene County. And through this mobile health unit, we provide HIV, Hep C, and syphilis testing, as well as naloxone distribution and other harm reduction services like fentanyl test strips. And we actually debuted this mobile health unit on May 22nd, and we take it out to Sugar Tree Ministries in Clinton County. So that has been our partner so far. Just getting started. So we go out the second and the fourth Thursday of the month. So we're actually going out tomorrow. And just through this mobile health unit, we're able to bring these services directly to people who may not receive them otherwise. Next slide, please. And then in addition to services that I mentioned in Clinton County, we've also actually been able to increase our reach in Greene County. I did this presentation I think back in May, and we hadn't yet gotten a lead on any Greene County locations, but I'm happy to report that we are actually able to have our harm reduction services at the Fairborn Hotel every first Wednesday. And so through that, we are able to have our syringe service program, distribute naloxone and fentanyl test strips, as well as safer smoking and snorting kits, and then other supplies. So access to treatment and recovery services, if that's something that someone were to request, wound care supplies, as well as hygiene items. And so we have been really excited to make this mobile unit mobile in Greene County, because a lot of our participants say sometimes they can't make our normal hours of 1 to 4. So we actually are doing it in an evening time slot to make sure that we're opening that opportunity up for people who may not be able to make it. So we're actually going today. So we'll see how that works today. So yeah, next slide. And then another thing that we love to do with our mobile health unit is just do regular community outreach. So this was from our very first community event on June 7th, where we attended a family fun fest in Bath Township. And so just getting people acquainted to the health unit, making sure, it's visible. Everyone says it's so beautiful. And then also just, passing out those resources. And in the future, we're hoping to get some of our medical reserve corps participants on the mobile unit to hopefully do some just simple screenings like blood pressure, maybe some sugar. So that's something that I'm looking forward to expanding on down the line. Next slide. Another aspect of our project was OD map expansion. So we're currently receiving data from Fairborn, Xenia, and Xenia Township fire and EMS departments. And through OD map, if you're not familiar with it, that's just the overdose detection mapping application program. So this allows us to get near real-time surveillance for our overdoses. And it also allows us to identify if there's any overdose death spikes. So it really allows us to kind of focus our efforts in areas where we may need to increase our outreach. And so our hope is to expand into Beaver Creek Township and Beaver Creek, the city of Beaver Creek. And we're currently working out some little kinks in the process, but we're hoping to start that within the next years. Next slide. And then the last aspect of our project was our quick response team, our continued care program. So through these grant dollars, we were able to hire on a peer recovery support specialist full-time, and she was able to help with the QRT program, which offered health navigation, follow-up surveys, naloxone distribution, just so we're making sure we're having those wraparound services. But unfortunately, the lead agency on QRT recently lost their funding, and so there have been some restructuring of the operations through QRT. So we are currently exploring ways to continue these services in Greene County. We think they're really beneficial, and we're hoping to get that up and running again. But we did see success from it in the first quarter. We had some referrals to treatment. We had a referral to our harm reduction services. And so we really, really see the value in that. Next slide. That's it. I am open if you guys have any questions. Thank you again for having me and letting me share a little bit about the work we've been doing.
Thank you so much, Casey.
I would just congratulate you on exceptional and really comprehensive work. It's and a really nice presentation too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Casey, really outstanding presentation and work. A little bit of a delicate question, I guess, but I know that there has been some federal guidance and executive orders around harm reduction kinds of approaches. Do you expect there to be any changes in this program going forward as a result of that?
I just talking from the knowledge that I know, and I've only been here I've almost been here a year now. So just kind of my own perception of things, I think that we have a really, really great Board of Health, and they have been super supportive. And so I think that with whatever we can do, they will let us do. So obviously, you know, if things are tied up at the federal level, we'll just have to figure out a way to keep these services going. But I think that, you know, our Board of Health is, like I said, very, very, very helpful, and they are really proud of the work that we do. So we're very fortunate to have that here in Greene County.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you, Casey. We really appreciate you joining this.
Thank
morning.
you.
And we'll bring more like this in future meetings. We want our board, we want you all to see the fruits of the labor that's happened across the state. And so Casey is just an example of one of the many great programs that are happening across the state. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Now I'll ask the floor to make a motion, to go to executive session to discuss personnel and advocacy. But before that, let me speak to the steps necessary. For our guests today who are on the call, we will reconvene this link when the executive session concludes. But until that time, you'll be on hold. You do not need to sign out. So if you're a guest, you do not need to sign out. You can remain on this line until we reconvene. For the board members, we'll need you to go to the second link in your calendar to enter into the private Zoom meeting, the private Zoom room. So that being said, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session for personnel and advocacy.
Lee,
And then
so
a
moved.
second.
Second.
Evan, I see Evan's lit up. I'll take that as the motion. And I need a second.
Lee, second.
I heard, is that you, Jonathan Lee, that seconded?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And then we'll have a roll call on the motion.
Director Claymire,
Yes.
Director Gregoire,
Yes.
Director Kidd,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director White, Director Radcliffe,
Yes.
Director Dodge,
Yes.
Director Dreehouse,
Yes.
Director Hohato,
Yes.
Director Tyler Lee,
Yes.
Director Mattia,
Yes.
Director Piccirilli,
Yes.
Director Greta Johnson,
Yes.
Director Bruce,
Yes.
Director Amen,
Yes.
Director Whiston,
Yes.
Director Handrew,
Yes.
Director Ayers,
Yes.
Director Mason,
Yes.
Director Mayer,
Yes.
Director St. John,
Yes.
Director Worsbicky.
Yes.
Okay, and the motion carries. So that being said, we're going into executive session. And again, our guests, please stay on the line. We'll come back to you. So we're back into open session then. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Dr. Richard Whitney, the One Ohio Recovery Foundation's expert panel.
So moved, Wayne Picciarelli.
Second, Tom Gregoire.
All right. And do we need I don't think we need a roll call, do we? All right, we'll just go voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are hereby appointing Dr. Richard Whitney. Thank you very much for his service. I'm looking forward to it. Now we'll go to committee reports. The first item we have is the Audit and Finance Committee report. We did not have a quorum today, but Evan, you can report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today we are going to be approving the May and June financial report. So I will first turn it over to staff to go through those financial reports.
Perfect. And thank you. I know our team is on the line, but I'm going to do my best impersonation of that team. If we have any questions, happy to turn it over to them so we can get to any detail you need. But this morning, the committee And reports include the budget amendment that you all approved at our last meeting in June and focused on the positions to support the region and grant program. So if you remember that from last weekend or last meeting, we really focused that amendment on that grant support system and our regional support. So thank you for that. Expenses in total are on track for the full year budget following the amendment and with our need to hire those new positions that you all approved and our personnel committee approved. We likely will see that operating costs go up for the last parts of the year as we get those folks hired, as we turn on that new grant system, which we are very grateful that we've been having productive meetings with the Giving Data team and are on task and on time with those projects to cut that system over from Akoya. I think the other item to point out is that any money that is going to the regions, and then we'll have to go down to the next slide actually. On your next slide there for the cash balance has maintained as typical. One of the things to point out is we did in the month of June receive our year distributor Janison year 3, 4, 5 payment for 18 million. We'll talk a little bit more about our revenues when we get to the investment committee, but I think that that's the call out for this slide at least. And then on the next slide, I was jumping ahead of myself to just speak to the regions. Here is the breakout of our region budgets. As you will see on the slide that this has been what we've been reporting to date thus far this year. We expect that these May and June payments would be low. If you remember, all of our grantees are on what we call a semi-annual payment schedule. And so we expect that there will be a lot of movement on these payments in August, even yet still in August, and then in September, as we continue to review the reports, which we'll hear from our evaluation team in a moment. So these few payments are just those grantees that maybe had an initial start date that was happening in May and June. So we anticipate more to come on grant movement from there. Any questions about the May and June financial reports? Happy to take those.
Go ahead and ask for that. Vote on it then. Is there a motion then to approve the May and June unaudited financial report?
So moved, Director Kleinmeyer.
Evan makes the motion.
Second by Vicky.
And Jeanette seconds the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. So the next item we have is review the regional grant cycle number 2, second year budget, and then we'll subsequently need a motion on that. So that's the next item, is the regional grant cycle 2 budget.
Awesome. All right, if we can jump right into the slide. As our chair mentioned, really excited. We will be kind of walking through the grant process at a high level and some dates to remember at our next board meeting. But thanks to your work at our last board meeting, we have been able to take the $40 million recommendation that you all voted on last month and turn that into an allocation. And so today we're asking for you all to vote to approve the $40 million allocation that I'll walk through on the screen. So as you all know and may remember, the allocation percentages are set by the MOU. And so that's what you see in that second column there. Those percentages are coming straight from the MOU. We then took a look at our budget for cycle 1. So that first allocation that you all have made. Then that fourth column, the award cycle 1, is what the regions awarded from those totals. And then that fifth column is the carryover from cycle 1. So either what wasn't spent or through contracts with our grantees was either put back into the regions. Remember, every dollar allocated to a region stays with the region. That sixth column, I think I'm getting my numbers right there, is the allocation, what that $40 million looks like for this next grant round in cycle 2. And then that last column to the right is what the totals will be for each region. So you will notice that that $45 million total is what that brings it to for cycle 2. So 45.7 million is what will be available for regions to spend, and the breakout for each region will be shared once this is approved by you all today.
Thank you, Alicia. And we'll be looking again for a motion to approve the cycle, I'll call it cycle number 2 budget. Is there such a motion?
Lee, so moved.
Larry, well, that was John Lee. It says Larry Kidd here, but that was John.
Everybody wants to be Larry.
Okay, so Jonathan Lee makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second by Amy.
Oh.
All right. Any discussion? Again, we discussed this 2 months ago and discussing again today. Is there any discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go to the audit update. Again, I thank Evan for all the updates and the reminder to everybody to complete the related party questionnaires. You would have gotten a few weeks ago. It's an important part of our duties, get those turned in. Evan, is there anything else you want to discuss on part of the audit update?
No, I just thank staff. They are working directly with the auditors. The auditors are completing their field work, and we should have something at the September Audit and Finance Committee finalized audit report. Again, I will highlight we're missing about half of the related party questionnaires. Our auditors cannot finish their work until we get that back from all the board members. So please pay attention to that, and if you need that, let me or Alicia know.
Thank you very much. Next item is our Grant Oversight Committee report. I'll turn it over to Tom Gregoire.
Yeah, just to clarify, I'm not Larry Kidd, but I did have a question before for Evan. If you do not have our form, we'll expect a prompt. Is that right?
If you do not have our form, we'll make sure another prompt goes out after this meeting. Those prompts do not come from staff. They come directly from the auditor. And so we will make sure to share her name and email address so that you can take a look at, sometimes if you don't have a recognized name, it may go into your spam. And so we'll send out the information on who to expect to hear from and their contact information if you want to reach out to them directly.
Okay, before I move into my brief report, I wonder if Denise and Dwayne's hands are up because of the fiscal report that we want to address first.
Go on, Denise.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a question about the 10 million that we just talked about from the legislature. Is that 10 million, I'm wondering where that's showing up. Is it showing up in kind of the general financing for the foundation, or is that money going to be allocated for something specific? And I'm thinking, of course, about money going down to the districts, but I don't remember the conversation that we had around getting money from the legislature in addition to what we already have received from the distributors.
Thanks for the question. And so I think what you're speaking to is an opportunity. So One Ohio does not have any funds related to public education from the legislature, but there will be an opportunity in the future, hopefully from the state, related to a public education opportunity. So it would not be in our budget. It's something that we will need to discuss in coming meetings if that opportunity, or excuse me, when that opportunity makes itself available.
So can I just ask, is that considered to be like a statewide initiative? Is that what you're thinking?
So if we were to approach the opportunity that would come from the state, it would be a partnership between what the state would call for likely. We haven't seen an RFP come out yet. The state would call for a public-private partnership. And so we would need a vote from this board to pursue the matter, and whether or not that vote would constitute funds as a statewide partnership would be a part of that discussion. But
Okay.
it likely would be a statewide initiative, correct?
Got it. Thank you. So, but more to come on that as the RFP gets rolled out.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tom Gregoire, are you or is Gretchen Hammond speaking as part of the grant oversight?
I have brief comments and then Gretchen's going to do the important stuff.
And then Dwayne, did you have a question as well?
I'm good. Denise addressed my concerns, so they're covered. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, let me get started then. First, again, I appreciate seeing the impact of how our funding is spent, and I look forward to these regular reports as we see the difference we're making across Ohio. There's so much going on there. I appreciate knowing what's happening. Our grant committee is working on scheduling an in-person meeting at the end of the month and kind of an extended one, spending an afternoon together as we move along with the next RFP and the next grant cycle. Thanks to the grant committee members who have responded to my recent email. And if you did not get that email or haven't responded, let me hear from you, please, as we try to get that meeting scheduled. We've got a lot to cover on the way through as we get ready for this, apply the lessons we've learned and get ready for our next round. Our first reporting period closed July 31st. So now it's time to begin soaring through what happened. As you know, this foundation is highly committed to accountability and ensuring the dollars are spent appropriately and are reaching those impacted by the opioid crisis. To that end, we have a very robust grant compliance and evaluation process. And I want to introduce now our evaluation partner, Gretchen Clark Hammond. She's the CEO of Mighty Crow Media, to share with us, and we've heard from her before in our grant committee, but to share with us more about the grantee evaluation process. So Gretchen, it's all yours.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to the board and the One Ohio staff for the time that we have today. So as Tom was saying, I'm the CEO of a company called Mighty Crow. We are a research and evaluation services company based here in Columbus. We help a lot of grant-funded nonprofits, government bodies, and private entities do their best and most effective work by offering data-driven solutions to identifiable problems. We partner in this effort for One Ohio with JG Research and Evaluation. They also bring expertise in applied research, evaluation, needs assessment and planning, and data management strategies and systems. Combined together, we have a multidisciplinary team with expertise from behavioral health, recovery supports, criminal justice, healthcare, and violence prevention. Go ahead. So I wanted to share with you all the work that we've done since we were onboarded in May. So I've got a couple of timeline slides, and then I'll walk us through the structure of the evaluation and what we've gleaned from the first reporting period so far, and then I'll close with our next steps. So we were awarded or notified of our contract at the end of May in 2024. And between that time in June and July and then into August, we got to work right away collaborating with the One Ohio staff on developing our metrics. And we drafted those, discussed them extensively, and began really thinking about what evaluation could look like across 245 very different projects. In September and then in November of 2024, I was able to come and do brief presentations on the evaluation plan, as Tom alluded to our grants oversight committee, and then to the expert panel. And then in the last quarter of 2024, we were asked to code all of the applications that had been submitted to you all, which you'll remember was somewhere of like 1,400 applications, both funded and unfunded. And we created a coding report that I believe was shared with all of you to kind of paint a picture of the types of things people were asking for, the projects, the sizes, the scope. And that gave us a lot of information to validate what we had already planned for the evaluation. And then in December, we produced detailed data dictionaries for grantees. And I'll explain how those were organized here in a couple of other slides. But we built those out in preparation for 2025 to kick off. And they were built to correspond with activity areas that we had built out through the evaluation. Next slide, please. So then 2025 kicked off, and we went into a full court press around getting grantees ready for their first reporting period. So in January, we produced a series of short videos to get grantees ready to go. And so we had an introduction to evaluation that went out, and all of these videos were just a couple of minutes long. And they are all now posted on the grantee resources page for the One Ohio Recovery Foundation. We did an introduction to technical assistance, and these were all sent out to grantees. In February, we hosted a series of mandatory TA sessions for all the grantees, and this occurred February 24th through the 28th. We had a session for each corresponding activity area that grantees were assigned to, and we hosted those. They were all recorded as well and posted and shared with grantees. We also spent time in February tracking down all the grantees that did not attend mandatory TA to kind of discover what might be going on and get them caught up as soon as we could. In March, we launched individual TA, so one-on-one technical assistance, and we kept reaching out and contacting again those grantees who did not attend because we wanted them to be as up to speed as quickly as possible with what the evaluation needed to capture from them. And so we spent a lot of time in collaboration with the One Ohio staff, really reaching out to grantees and making sure they had all the information. During that time, we were also asked to build out a secure reporting portal designed specifically for One Ohio grantees. And the development team under JG Research and Evaluation took the lead on that and built a secure reporting portal. And the wonderful thing about that is it is tailored exactly to the One Ohio grantees, built to reflect the data dictionaries that they received. And I'll report on how well that has worked now that the first reporting period is done. But in April, we were really, really busy in that. In May, we were planning for the launch of that portal. We were nearing completion and released some additional videos to, again, let people know what to expect as they were getting ready for reporting in July. We also built an office hours scheduler that launched in June so that grantees could go and immediately see all the available times to meet with someone from the evaluation team, and they could schedule 15 or 30-minute sessions as frequently as they wanted, and they did. So I'll share the activity around that here in a couple of slides. Then in June, we were able to meet in person with probably 50%, maybe a little bit more of grantees who were invited to the OACPA conference that occurred in June, and some board members were there as well. And that was really a wonderful opportunity to connect and provide on-site TA. My team was there for 2 days. We were helping people at the table, and we also presented some additional information to folks during those sessions. And then we produced some additional videos about the secure reporting portal in June. And all of that was to get us to July when the reporting period opened. So our portal opened on July 1st. Everyone received their login credentials at that time. The portal was open through the end of the reporting period on July 31st. We had TA sessions available every working day of the month, basically from 9 to 5, so people could sign up. We did a live Q&A session on July 10th that was well attended, and really spent our time in July focused on helping people be successful when it came to logging in and completing their reports. So it's been a busy time, as you all can see. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So when we were selected to be the evaluator, one of the first big picture questions that we discussed was, how do you evaluate 245 projects, right? And I'm sure as a board, you all have thought the same thing.
So we knew right away from our own experience working in the field and being a part of grants was that these projects were going to vary greatly. You know, even projects that lived under similar abatement strategies were going to look and feel different in size, scope, direction, all of those pieces. And so we knew that the task would be trying to figure out a cohesive way to think through how to tell the story of how your dollars were being utilized. We also knew that some of the projects that got funded were going to be starting up, like brand new, while others were going to be existing and were going to be up and running. And to navigate that and think about what that means from an implementation perspective. And so we needed to find common elements that could be tracked across projects in order to develop that comprehensive evaluation. Next slide, please. So we started with kind of goals, right? Like, what do we want this evaluation to do? And we aligned ourselves with the values of the One Ohio Recovery Foundation in terms of your commitment to transparency and your commitment to accountability. Those are very germane to the work that we do as well. So we thought of 4 big things that we knew our evaluation could accomplish. One was telling the story of scope and coverage, really demonstrating the reach and composition of grant-funded activities. Second was management, really to be able to tell the story of how grantees were managing their funds, were they achieving what they said they were going to do, all of those key pieces. Then we knew we could also look at quality, right? The characteristics of grant-funded programs and really helping to support continuous quality improvement across the projects. And then finally, we knew that we could deliver on transparency to help you all support your public reporting commitments and your value around transparency about how these grant funds got allocated and then how they got utilized. So those are our driving forces. Go ahead. So in this first round of funding, we really captured an implementation science approach as our overall scope, because that allows you to capture contextual information, information about the reach of the programs, adaptations that people are making, and other data that helps tell the story of how One Ohio Recovery Foundation grant funding is making a difference in local communities. And my favorite way to describe implementation science to anybody is through this picture. Sometimes your plan for what you're going to do looks very smooth, but in reality, a lot of things happen along the way. And the beauty of an implementation science perspective is it says, give me the full picture. I want to know the reality of the story. And it allows us to make different decisions because it comes from a spirit of really trying to understand the work that people are doing. Next slide. So largely, we're capturing a lot of what's known as descriptive data. And descriptive data is incredibly useful because it really paints a picture and answers some key questions that we all have. Things like, who got served, right? Who was served by the project or the program? What did they receive, right? What kind of services or education or products did they get? When did people get those services? And what do we understand about that? Where was it delivered to them? And how much of the service or the intervention was received? So it really allows us to dig in and understand what grantees were doing with the dollars and how those were making a difference in the people, the places, the programs that they were working with. Go ahead. So going back to these data dictionaries, if you've not seen them yet, they are all posted on the grantee resources page, which launched in June. And we're so appreciative of that. The One Ohio staff really took the lead on building out another web page specifically for grantees. All of our videos, toolkits, FAQs, data dictionaries are all living here now as a one-stop shop. And this gives us a way to keep everything updated, and we're not then constantly emailing grantees with new versions of things. So the way that we organized grantees was around these activity areas. And so based upon what they were funded to do, most people fit very neatly into one of the categories that you see on the screen. Some people were funded to build out some administrative staff. They added people to their non-direct service. Some people were funded to do things that are like built infrastructure. Think of these as capital projects, you know, or anything related to the physical building. Some people were funded to improve their data systems, and so those live under data infrastructure. Some people were funded to do direct service work. That was our largest category of people. So think treatment, think recovery supports, anything where they were using dollars for staff who were going to go out and serve people. Some people were funding direct services and hiring new people. And so they have a different set of questions because we're really interested in staff retention and those types of things. Some people were getting funded to do a lot of staff training, so they have a category. Some people were funded to do a lot of education and awareness. And then some people were buying physical medical equipment, like our mission moment that we had this morning, like their mobile medical unit, those types of things. And so all 245 projects found a home in one of these activity areas. Go ahead. And so then also, in addition to the activity areas, we created a set of universal metrics that every grant project can answer if the question is applicable. We built in some flexibility because we know that there are just some things that, based upon what a project was funded to do, certain questions don't make sense. But we at least posed all of these questions to all grantees. And so you can see from the screen, these are things like community events and their engagement in coalitions and other community level organizations. We ask for success stories. We ask them to look at program sustainability. We ask them to think about the perceptions of the changes that they're making. We also built in space for them to include some self-reported metrics, because when they applied to be grantees, they put forth some outcomes that mattered to them. And so we wanted to give them space to include some of those things if those things still made sense to them. So they had 3 self-reported metrics. Then we asked them about their alignment with their own project timeline and how that was going. We tracked their budget spending by line item in the reporting so that the One Ohio staff can monitor how that spend down is going. We also asked them about their engagement with the foundation and their feedback for the foundation. So every grantee answered these questions. Go ahead. So an activity area example for everybody to kind of see like what types of questions we were asking comes from our direct services data dictionary. This is our largest cohort of grantees. And we also added the new hire questions because this was what a lot of people were using dollars for, was to hire additional staff. So you can see under the new hire category, we were asking them questions about the number of people that they added to their team or retained because of the funding. We ask about staff who were promoted. We ask about the number of new positions, client engagement, demographics. So just getting an idea of what these dollars allowed them to do in terms of growing their team. Under the direct services, we're asking a lot of questions about the actual program or the service that's being delivered. And inside of that, there are some questions that pertain to treatment. There's some questions that pertain to recovery services. There's some questions that pertain to recovery housing. And we tried to build that out, recognizing that the space around direct services can be pretty broad. So again, if a question wasn't applicable, they had an opportunity to tell us that. But this allowed us to build out something robust for all grantees. Go ahead. So I wanted to share with you, it's been a really meaningful experience to work one-on-one with the grantees. And this is my 26th year in the field. And if you were thinking, but Gretchen only looks to be 27 years old, thank you. But I've been in the field for a long time. And one of the things when I've been a grantee that I've really valued is individualized technical assistance and how helpful that is for a project. So between prior to the reporting period open, we had 30 individual TA sessions where people reached out. We set those up. We talked with them. Some grantees had multiple TA sessions because we were really here to help people be successful. Then when we launched our office hour scheduler, as the reporting period got closer, we had 53 individual office hour sessions between July 1st and July 31st. So it was very busy. People had a lot of different questions. And so some of the themes that I wanted to share with you all that came forward out of our technical assistance was that grantees really have this range of experience. Some organizations are very, very new to grant reporting, while others are extremely seasoned. This is not their first rodeo. They feel very comfortable. But other people, this was a steep learning curve for them. So we found that most of the time in TA, we were just providing support to the grantee while they talked through their plans for reporting. They let us know that they really appreciated the level of detail in the data dictionaries and how it seemed so straightforward to them. They'd never experienced something that was so clear. And that's what they would say. I can't believe that it's so easy to use. Thank you for doing this. And so we were grateful to have that feedback. But mostly they just wanted to talk through their ideas with us, and we were able to support them. And we were happy to do that. So that was kind of the feel, if you will, of TA. Go ahead. We also sent out a technical assistance survey to try and gauge how much TA people thought they might need. And this was completed by about half of our grantees, so 126 total. And what they told us was about 83% of them indicated that their organization had some or extensive data collection experience. And we thought, okay, well, that's great, right? That folks are accustomed to collecting data. That about 84% indicated that they thought they might need a minimal or a moderate level of TA. So most everyone who responded thought, yes, I'm going to need some level of TA. 57% reported that they actually had a dedicated staff person for data collection, which we thought also was wonderful. Sometimes organizations don't, but it is very nice to know when they do, and that's that person's area of focus. And then 87% reported utilizing electronic storage for their data. And so people collect data in all sorts of ways. Paper is still a way that folks collect data, but we were just trying to get an understanding of what our grantees might be capable of and what they would need. And we planned for that. We were ready to help people no matter what stage they were in. Next slide, please. So as we shared, one of the things that we were really excited about was the opportunity to build a secure reporting portal specifically for One Ohio grantees. And that includes a dashboard for the grantee when they log in. This is their landing page specific to them. If they have more than one grant, they can toggle between that. Some grantees are funded in a couple of different regions, so they were able to do that. This is, of course, pretend. That's why you see it's called fake grant. This is just a mock-up for all of you. But they could log in and they could begin their reporting process very easily. And we told them in our sessions, have your data dictionary ready because this is going to look just like that, and it's going to walk through each question. So this opened for them on July 1, and it worked very, very, very well. We're so grateful that everything launched well, that we had very few issues with folks logging in or other pieces. Next slide, please. All right, and I'm going to wrap up here and get ready for questions. This is what the dashboard for the One Ohio team looks like. So it has a roll up so that you can see where grantees are. And this is a picture of where things were right after the portal closed. So out of 245 grantees, 99% had logged in by the close of the reporting period, which is fabulous. We had about 94% fully submit their report. And some of the issues of non-submission we are working through with grantees right now. They've been very responsive. For some of them, it was simply they didn't hit the submit button, which happens. So it's all things that we're working to mitigate with each grantee. Go ahead. So the reporting window closed, as you all know, at midnight on July 31st. We are going through the review right now of each report. So there's 245 and our team is moving through them. July 31st was just a couple of weeks ago. So we're moving through and we're going through a series of criteria that you see on the screen, a budget review, question completeness, data quality, and then we're cataloging every review like an audit trail, if you will, for the One Ohio staff so that they can then conduct their review related to compliance. And then anybody that we're asking to make any changes, we're giving them a window of 5 working days to make those requested changes. And folks are doing a wonderful job of getting back to us and making those changes. Go ahead. So the next steps. We built an analytical plan a few months ago to guide what our process of reporting is going to be like. We will write a full report that contains the aggregated analysis from all grantees. We will be writing regional reports as well. And then we plan on doing a series of ad hoc reports at the request of the One Ohio staff. We anticipate starting our analysis later by the middle of this month, which is just right around the corner. We have about 6 weeks that we've timed out to analyze 245 reports. If that feels fast to you, it is, but we know that time is of the essence, and then we hope to begin producing those reports in October. This should be my last slide, and I will, observations. Sorry, I can do this quickly. Grantees really appreciate technical assistance. They have told us multiple times how much it has meant to them. For the future, what we've noticed is that the toughest thing for most grantees is fiscal reporting, and that might be something to consider training grantees on in the future. Fiscal staff, we've noticed, have not been coming to a lot of the sessions, so it's a program person who's trying to figure it out. And I think that there is a huge opportunity to think about how to do some fiscal focused training for grantees. We also know, like I shared earlier, grantees are in different stages when it comes to their experience with grants and reporting. And it might not be who you think. Some of our bigger institutions are the ones who really, really struggle with reporting, not our smaller grantees. So our government entities, hospitals, and universities seem to have struggled more so than some of our nonprofit organizations. We could speculate on that at another meeting, but that's just what we're noticing. And recognizing too that start dates are so different amongst grantees. Some people are just getting started, other people have been up and rolling. And so it changes kind of what they can share at this stage. And we've been supporting people with that recognition that they are in different places. Okay, I believe this should be my last slide, and I'll turn it back over to the floor and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Gretchen. Again, thank you, Tom Gregoire, and your committee for so much work in this area. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. This is Dawn Tyler Lee.
Go ahead, please.
Actually, a comment and a question. Dr. Gretchen, thank you for the overview, and I really appreciate that this evaluation process has such significant TA support for the reasons you mentioned, so that we're capacity building along the way. So kudos to you and your team for that. You mentioned that there were some grantees who you had to follow up with who were not part of the mandatory sessions. As we move into our next round, were there any barriers that we should be aware of that prevented them from that participation, or were they more unique, isolated situations?
I appreciate your question. I think there were kind of it's like the rule of thirds, right? So about a third of the people that were non-responsive were not getting our emails. And we were able to work with the One Ohio team. Things hit firewalls. Sometimes a group email, if it's got an attachment, gets caught in everyone's spam filter. So we started figuring those things out. So that was a cohort. There was a cohort of people who are dealing with turnover, right? Like so many organizations. And so the person who was originally getting the emails wasn't there anymore, and they hadn't updated that information with the foundation. So the email was going into the great beyond, right? And they weren't getting contacted. And a third were folks who may have just had some trouble in understanding who was supposed to attend. And so we were able to work with everyone to get them caught up. We tracked down every single grantee between my team and the One Ohio team to make sure that we made a contact with them, pointed them to the information, got them what they needed, and assured them that we could catch them up too, because we know how stressful this can be if you think you have missed something. And now we can tell people, hey, everything under the sun that we have created is on that grantee resources page. And that has been such a blessing because, again, new staff are coming on board and they can go and catch up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, and I'll move on then to the investment committee report. Thank you again, Dr. Gregoire. Now the investment committee report, Jim White.
Unmute myself. There you go. This is Jim White, not Larry Kidd. Again. Thank you, Chairman. Really appreciate it. Do we have some slides, Alicia?
We do. I think we just have, do we have both slides or just the one? Okay, so we just have the one. So Jim, you may want to just speak at a higher level, and then we can talk about the revenues that have come in.
Right. Okay. Right. So I think there's 2 or 3 kind of highlights with respect to the investment committee. One is we last meeting kind of approved to move some funds out of the insured deposit program, which we were kind of getting getting up against kind of a maximum amount of money that we could have in there. We moved some money into a treasury fund at Key Bank. That's kind of the first order of business. Second is, as you all know, we had embarked upon an RFP process starting probably 3 or 4 months ago to kind of help professionalize and add a level of sophistication to how we were managing basically the assets that were the cash assets that are kind of already obligated for our grants. I'm happy to say that we've selected a great partner in PNC, and we actually have a working meeting on Friday morning, this Friday morning, a half-day session with them to kind of kick things off, and are super excited to be working with them. They were head and shoulders kind of above really everyone else with respect to their presentation and the service offering, et cetera. So we'll be very happy to work with PNC. So once we have that in place, then we are now working on, and I'm working with David Kaplan at Panoramic, and Amy and the team, Jim, Quinn, to now really take the next step and try to figure out an investment advisor for kind of the remaining assets that will be coming over the next 10, 15 years. And how do we invest that? How do we allocate those dollars? We're in the process of putting together an investment policy, or excuse me, an RFP for that process. I would think that we'll probably have something for our next investment committee meeting here within the next 30 days. And we'll have that out in the marketplace probably within the next 60 to 90 days. So that is those are kind of the highlights of the investment committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Any questions for Jim on that?
Quick question. Could we go back to that slide with the payout monies? Just do any of those payouts change the formulas in the MOU? For example, obviously, Tioga County only gets like about 3% of the payout, but 9% from certain new defendants. Do you happen to know the answer to that? I assume these are.
Yes, so thanks, Judge, for the question. And a couple things, because I think wanted to touch on this slide as well, to add to what Jim was sharing. So to answer your question, there are some nuances to each of these settlement agreements. And so far, as you know, we have only spent, if you remember, the funds from the distributor payments. And Jim, Quinn, hopefully you're on the line to kind of check me on that. I believe we have only spent dollars out of settlements that have come from those early payments, distributor and J&J at most. That being said, because we've only spent dollars out of that fund, the nuances that occur within each of these settlements have not been a discussion to date for this in front of this board. We are gearing up, and there's a group of us, mainly myself, reading each of the settlement agreements again and really taking a look at the Kroger and some of the newer settlements that are coming down the pike, like Purdue Pharma. It is important to highlight each of these are somewhat different. And so more to come on that. It's a good point, Judge Mataya. I think, when we think about those early settlements, it's easy to assume that those kind of every settlement from there falls into the same category because they look and feel somewhat similar. But the early settlements did not include Summit and Cuyahoga County. The later settlements didn't include Trumbull and I want to say Lake County. I'm blanking on the counties for a second there. And so there's more work to be done and more discussion to be had about how that'll impact how we pay out and use the funds moving forward. but appreciate you remembering that piece. There is work to be done to kind of sort that out as we move forward.
No,
But for
sure.
our next grant round, we will likely be using the distributor payments again to kind of give us some more time to kind of illuminate the issues and really talk through this from the investment standpoint, as well as our audit and finance committee will really kind of go into this alongside the full board.
And
Lori, are there other hands raised? It
yeah,
says
I still have another point.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can Jim, can you talk to Mr. Kaplan or someone else talk to Mr. Kaplan and ask him can he put together like a little Excel spreadsheet showing, what these our in perpetuity plan might look like based on certain hypothetical rates of return? We know we may not, some people may pay early, but we should have enough data at this point to give us a rough picture of what we're going to have left at the end of the period that we settled upon. So I would ask that we be provided that in the near future.
Yeah, David, I think that's really part of the scope of work that the investment advisor that and consultant that we bring on will do for us. It's a great question. It's a great ask. I completely agree with you. But I think that's something that that really should be left to the investment advisor that we end up hiring here over the next 60 to 90 days.
Well, what is Kaplan's role? I thought he was our investment advisor.
No, I mean, David's really, and Jim Quinn and Alicia can speak to this, but David is really, providing more of an outsourced kind of CIO role. He's getting involved a little bit in the financial aspect of things, but I think he's really been helping Jim, really more on the accounting, the audit side. He's been doing some work on the investment side, helping us develop, an RFP to send out, et cetera. But, that's really not why he's on board.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'll move on just to the executive director's report at this point in time.
Okay. And so, yes, so we're gonna just skip down to just a quick update from me here. Thank you. I believe it's Sarah who's driving the slides just to kind of wrap up. So a lot is happening. A lot still needs to be discussed. We will continue to sprinkle in presentations like we presented today to kind of give you some background and make sure that you all, feel comfortable with your fiduciary responsibilities, but also from just a human perspective, knowing that there's work happening operationally behind the scenes and out in the communities to make sure that these dollars are going where they need to go. And to the judge's point and others, we'll have more presentations to come from a legal perspective about the differences between the settlements and more. But just from a high level, I wanted to just run through a couple quick notes about our last quarter. I won't spend a lot of time here, but just to peruse through just some facts. Our team continues to maintain committed and busy and really focused on making sure that we're transparent. We're meeting with the right folks in the community, the folks across the country really, and our grantees, and keeping the community informed about what's happening, when it's happening, as it's happening. And so these are just some of the numbers from our second quarter here with the foundation. If we can keep flipping through, you'll see we'll have all of this in your packet. So I won't read through this here. Just some more insights around how we spend our time as a team, what work is happening to move our grants forward, as well as our evaluation, as Gretchen pointed out. to just kind of give and there's no slide for this, but just to kind of give just an overview of kind of where we think we're headed. Sarah is out with the regions today and now, and will be with the regions. So for those of you region members, you know that we have built a number of toolkits and support resources. The region should now be focused on what their priorities will be for this next grant round. We have asked the regions to use these volunteer and help resources. To do that, we will be working alongside them to schedule any meetings or connect them with their ADAMH board, a public health department, or even our expert panel if they need that guidance, with the goal that the regions would get us, their priorities for this next grant round by November. And so we will be talking more about what that means. But you could likely guess that right after we have what we need to complete our RFP in detail, understanding what each region will need, we'll be able to roll out the next grant round. And so we will, in the September meeting, talk about the timeline and really start to showcase that timeline on our website, and a lot of fun changes to our website. A lot of the fun that we all experienced in this last, 12, 18 months about releasing our next round is coming again. So now it's time to kind of buckle our seatbelts again, because we're going to go through this all together. But that is just a forecast of Q3 and what we will see in Q4 as we continue to kind of work through some of the high level items and the strategies in these meetings. So we're really excited to partner with you on those. So with that being said, if there's any questions about operations, the work of the foundation that I could answer on behalf of the staff.
I don't see any hands going up, but the last item under new business and announcements. Are there any business topics or announcements that need to be brought before the board today? Hearing none, then a reminder about the next meeting. We've had great discussion today. September 10th is our next meeting. There'll be a lot covered at that meeting. We appreciate our attendance. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion
By
to
Dave
adjourn.
Messiah, and second by Jim. All in favor, Jim White, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.